Marty, stand here. Put your hips right on the very corner of the table. Good, even more on the corner. This way, this way, this way, like you're going to fall off. Yep, and sit down right on the very edge. Lie back, take one knee back with you. Cool, and relax it there. So we're now going to do hip flexors. Again, we don't really care what they're called. There's going to be a little bit of psoas, a little bit of rec fem, which is another of the hip flexors. So just relax there for me. Yep, hold the knee up, sorry. All right, so let's have a look at the angle of hip flexion here. That's pretty much 180 degrees, hey? And also look at where the foot is. The foot's sticking out this way. Think about why that might be happening, because I'm going to ask you in a moment. From here, my foot, bless you, goes against his ribs in this position, and I then push down on the knee. Notice the foot as I push down on the knee. See how the foot is kicking out more. It's going out that way. Why is that the case? Why would the knee be extending as I'm pushing him into hip extension? How many, in the quadricep muscle groups, how many muscles are there? 4. Quad, yeah? So there are 4 muscles in the quads. Of those 4, 1 is biarticulate. Can anyone remember what biarticulate means? It crosses 2 joints, okay? One of the muscles in the quads, the rec fem, is biarticulate. It runs over both the hip and the knee, which means that when I stretch that muscle, which is a hip flexor, when I stretch it, it's being stretched. It doesn't like being stretched, so therefore it causes extension of the knee. Does that make sense? Yeah? By stretching one of the 4 quadriceps, the rec fem, which is a hip flexor, it extends the knee. So from here, I want to do this. And it goes. And we hold that there, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. Now, Marty, you're going to drive that heel to the ground. What muscles are firing here? Hamstrings, glutes, broadly speaking, hip extensors, things that extend the hip. Because we want to be firing the hip extensors to relax the hip flexors, so then when you relax, we now get his foot, or at least the ball of his foot, down to the ground. You can see we're starting to get an increase in length here. And we'll fast track it a bit, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Toes off the ground and push up against me. He's pushing up against me. The hip flexors are firing the Golgi tendon organs. 3, 2, 1, relax. And now we can get the heel to the ground. All right, and even if we now go into that, we're starting to get some movement. Just let it relax, let the heel fall to wherever it wants to fall. We've now started to get an angle here, and the foot is no longer sticking out here. So we've got into psoas because we're stretching over the hip, but also the rec fem. So how do we do that on our own if we're not doing it in a pair? Well, this one needs to be done against the wall. We don't have many walls because there's stuff on them, but everyone find a little piece of wall along the wall there, somewhere like that, even in here against the wall. In fact, let me demo this. All right, here's what I want you to do, guys. We're going to look for the same position that we were just in. Who's done the couch stretch where you put your knee back in the corner? You maybe haven't done it exactly how we want this to be done. So, knee goes back in the corner, and now what people do is this. They go into this position. Is that about what you guys see? Yeah? Or they go up like that and go into this position. Is that about what you see? What I'm doing here is extending my lumbar spine. My spine is not neutral. Because what people think with that one is the more upright I can get my chest, the more benefit I'm getting. Not necessarily the case. So from here, what I want to do is push my hip forward, lock my rib cage down. Now I'm not in this position, which is taking the strain off my rec fem. I'm in this position where I'm isolating that flexion of the hip, which is exactly what we're looking for. See the difference? Okay, let's everyone get into that position for me, and then I'll talk you through what to do once you're in that position. Knee back in the corner of the room. All right, and from there, everyone just push up as high as you can. Chest up as high as you can go. Get that chest up and you feel that the back, the lumbar spine is hyperextending there. Everyone aware of that? Okay. I want you to now keep your knee back in the corner, but I want you to go into the hollow position that you were just working on in gymnastics. Lock the rib cage down. I don't want your other foot on the ground, okay? So right knee on the ground, left knee on the ground, knee on the ground, because again, you're just going into hyperextending here. So knee on the ground. All right, now you can see when you go into that more hollow position, do you feel a difference in what's happening through the front of your hip? Go into an extended position again, the stretch disappears because you're letting that muscle that's tight pull your hips into a position that's comfortable. We don't want comfortable. Left knee on the ground. Good, and knee back in the corner. Okay, so holding that position for me. It's not about how upright you can get, it's about how neutral you can keep your spine. Now what I want you to do, guys, is, eyes on me, try and lift your leg off the ground. Squeeze your glute and try and lift the knee off the ground, like you're trying to slide your foot up the wall. What you're doing now, you may feel like you're going to cramp. What you're doing now is activating your glutes, the extensors of your hip. That causes a reciprocal inhibition of your hip flexors. So now as you go back into the stretch, back into it, hold that position. Don't just lift your chest, guys. Keep your chest down. Push the hip forward. Squeeze your glute. Squeeze the glute of the leg that's being stretched. Squeeze it. There. Feel that? Did everyone feel that when you squeeze your glute? That's the position you want to be in, not just looking for the easy way out with this. All right, now I want you to drive the knee into the ground. So you're pushing the knee into the ground. So we're now firing off the muscles that we're also trying to lengthen. Golgi tendon organs are activating. Driving that knee into the ground, driving the knee into the ground. And relax. Back to your static stretch. Static stretch. Keep the hip forward. Keep pushing the hip forward. Keep pushing the hip forward. Good. And everyone stand up for me.